As we march into the halls of chaos, we allow our eyes to look through our orderly lives. And we see that we have walked in the faces of many senses and versions of ourselves. And so at times we have cried, and at other times we have laughed, and other times we have spontaneously began to speak to the emptiness of our own reality. To see that what echoes back is simply a self-reflection with less tendencies to attach to things. And what that means is that you do not push aside your need for survival as a being by just ignoring it and saying it to something else. You maintain all levels of your consciousness by being aware that they are all maintained by your greatest sense of awareness, by your most holistic and collective reality. What that means is that if you're a family man, you are then someone who is working for a greater cause, a more collective cause. Now, imagine this collective cause no longer being something that is relevant to how you look or how you see things, but it is that which is aware that it is aware. And this is an experiential knowing. It has nothing to do with age. It is simply the activation of consciousness to itself. That's it. We can get this through either, looking at Zen koans so deep that we see the meaning in the leaf that fell and was simply flowing with the stream, or by the harshest experience of life where we are thrown into our own tribulations and the tribulations of others. We always set up our own courtroom by not being self-aware enough to recognize the act that we are doing. At times it is not a problem of it being legal or illegal, it is the problem of how much you are able to confront that which is required for a collective intuition. Guys, pay attention to that which is your intuition, and you will see that it is as if it was always a greater collective knowing. It was a knowing which you didn't have because you were only one part of. The other parts were also present in that knowing. And so once we get glimpses of our own greater understanding, how the human consciousness incorporates itself, or how you analyze, in other words, your awareness, is by realizing you do not need analysis to be aware. Awareness is found within the mind of a child as much as it is found in the mind of anything else. Awareness as consciousness is irrelevant to the story of your mind and the shape of your bodies. Bodies, that's plural. In other words, your mental bodies and whatnot. And what that means is that once you see in the nature of this temporal universe, you're not bothered. Similar to how you see you're not bothered by stepping on a snail or watching leaves crumble, under your feet. Regardless of what you do, we are walking along always. And so you need to simply enjoy this walk by being very aware of it, by seeing that the beauty of the cosmos is one where the light of a single candle can illuminate all there is. So do not waste the great understanding that each moment of your being suggests of your experience here. There will be many landings, and it will not be physical landings in the way that some people would like. It will be the landings of ideas. In other words, you see, oh wait, no. Before there is any contact, let's say extraterrestrial contact, there's simply the observance of the human being's ability to increase. What that means is that if you see someone as a wild animal, or if you see a dog, a wild dog, one that is outside of your rationality, you do not feel safe by being beside like a wild dog, so you separate it. What you may do is that the next day you see the dog is very relaxed and calm and all like cute and whatever, right? And you notice by seeing this, you're allowing your approach of the same situation to be done in a more calm state after its progression. What that means is that you might be that guy who's waited to get on a roller coaster so much that when it was your turn, suddenly the person organizing the lines let other people in, And you just wonder, is desire the root of all evil? And you simply see that no, man's mind is the root of all evil, because you plant the seed of a bad idea by agreeing to a sense of self that is never you, but you have confused yourself with the taste of good food. What that means is that it's not like you for example, you don't need to have sex, as in these monastic, let's say, very ancient like traditions, they talk about it, It's not like you should be extremely strict. It just means you need to be self-aware enough to understand why that action was necessary. So, why is kindness necessary? Ask this question from yourself and look at it and see where it takes you. Because there are many themes which we are able to express our understanding through, which we simply do not allow ourselves to do. And so, your moment and your immediate moment is your gate of awareness to every conception, every reality. So this moment means that by being aware of the present, you are simply just like perhaps that guy, in the movie Thor, who was the gatekeeper. I forget his name. But just like he was a very badass gatekeeper, So imagine being that guy and having the awareness of the universe, Imagine being the meaningless plot of Lucy. Imagine your imagination being found in your present to be that which you call real, because that is what you're calling real. And guys, I have known the greatest lessons do not come from, it is not based on the experience you go through, the story, or how crazy the story is. It's not about privilege or lack of privilege, It is about how in tune you are with your experience and how you're allowing the moment to be experienced as it is. What that means is that the moment I stopped interpreting what you were saying, I really heard you, The moment I found the same truth within a leaf as I have found within a star. It seems to be that the shaman wasn't crazy after all, you know? And the dervish really whirled correctly, while the monk looked at the emptiness that was the fabric of this reality. And you know, somewhere at the corner of all these enlightened archetypes and images, there is the art and image of the enlightened human being, because the human being has realized what a valuable access point of existential information and experience it is, because it is a unique cup of consciousness. What that means is that we are a very unique container. This body, these relationships are not common, because the cosmos is very linked in regards to how realities are absorbed within one another. Similar to how the drops are found to become the ocean. What that means is that we are right now drops dropped on the petal of Gaia, on the petal of Earth. And we see that just as all within existence is expansively transcending all that it is, innately just blooming just as like a flower does naturally, just growing, evolving. You see that you're simply the awareness to different formats of evolution based on how deep your context of immediate form wants to be. In other words, some people think, for example, someone who is paralyzed or incapable or is a vegetable is limiting their experience, but no, they're not. They're just navigating and functioning their totality based on a different relationship. What that means is that, let's say, one day I'm examining my totality as a student, the next day I'm examining my totality as the teacher, then the next I'm examining my totality as consciousness, you know. there's a there's a truth that belongs to you in regards to your greater sense of awareness. Never forget the concept of a treasure revealer, of a person who is enjoying new findings that do not just belong to one's seen relationship, but one's unseen values. Because let me tell you, what every human being has in common when it comes to arguing with is not about rationality or irrationality, but simply about how aware one is to the unknown and to the known, and how you are aware of it. So I'm not here preaching a very cool story so we all just like, you know, rock out with it. We need to see that the sky has many clouds, and so what we find to be limitless is not that which fades, but a certain level of slower change. So what that means is your experience of your reality as consciousness is one in which you feel things are changing too fast and you're not confronting the fear of death immediately, so you're stuck in the struggle of an existential depression, which at times points to a longing of being in regards to being more honest with yourself. You can always reactivate yourself by sitting down being honest with yourself, and stopping everything, and in silence and stillness remembering who you are. That's it. Easy. What is seen to be slightly more difficult is how you begin experiencing a time period that's, for example, how would I say this? Okay, let me say it like this, right? You have an experience of eternity. And this experience means that you're alive for a long time. And now let's say we found a way to allow you to live, in 100 years. Let's say in 100 years, someone gave you the ability to have the experience of, let's say, a billion years, right? So in 100 years, if you could do something and be in this projection of having an experience of let's say a billion years, would you feel eternal? Perhaps so, you would. And so guys, eternity is not even about the images of eternity anymore. It is about the state of being that was always eternal. Remember your state of being that was always eternal, and it is not one that has to belong to shape. It has to be one that begins with a trust, with your imagination. You must trust life. Life is always giving you great moments to trust. In other words, sometimes the reasons I found for me to get very deep ideas is because I trust everything that there is. And at times people will be that is insane. How can you be this honest in such a world? Well, it begins by realizing that I feel more stabbed by dishonesty rather than being an honest man when I'm being robbed by thieves. So I am telling you that this lion is roaring before he's biting. And what that means is that, guys, destruction has nothing to do even with being tough physically or not. It is the intention you throw out. So the way a human being communicates can create such destruction that you think one is a god. In other words, guys, I can speak in ways about certain things that can be exciting and profound because they are an instrument closer to the ears of one's inner self, one's heart. And what that means is that, yes, on some level I'm some random person speaking, but on another level, if my voice have completed its pilgrimage into your ears, then who is the vision of all the changes that is the acts of humankind? And that vision also belongs to man and the idea in which man absorbs into, to break from, to be something that is inconceivable but omnipresent. And with that, may you feel how our world tilts, both outside and also inside your reality. Much brightness and not much.